We're live, Jim.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Middlesex County Library Board meeting for Tuesday, May 25th, 2021. And I'd just like to welcome everybody here, and I'm going to ask for provisions for disclosure of pecuniary interests or any general nature thereof. Next, I'm going to go with minutes. The minutes of our library board meeting held March 27, 2021. Any question or comments with those? If not, then I look for a mover and seconder that the minutes of the Middlesex County Library Board meeting held March 23rd, 2021 be approved as presented. Moved by Brad Richards, second by Ruth Adams. Further comments? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Our visioning topic, capital work projects update, presentation by Lindsay Brock, Director of Library Services. Lindsay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just going to bring it up on the screen here. Okay, can everyone see that now? Yep. Okay, perfect. So I just wanted to give a brief update of where we're at with our capital projects for 2021. So overall, our projects kind of fit into three streams. So we have our branch refurbishments, so either renovations or minor changes to a number of branches. We have a couple projects that relate to outreach, so reaching people in different ways across the county, and then some projects relating to technology. So those are our three main topics. And so we'll start off with branch refurbishments. So you'll remember that we wrapped up the Ilderton Early On Child and Family Center construction back in December. This is just a picture of what the space looked like at one point before we were able to do some in-person programming in that space there back at the beginning of the year. Now we're back to just virtual programming for Early On, but we're also working on refurbishing the library side. So this slide said that we hoped to have our new shelving delivered this week, and I did find out on Friday that it's coming. The shelving for the Dorchester branch and Ilderton are coming today. They'll be in Dorchester around 11 or 11:30. So as soon as this meeting is done, I'm going to zip out there and make sure that things are underway. In the Dorchester space, they should be able to finish that installation today. It's just the children's area at Dorchester, and then they'll move on to Ilderton tomorrow. Likely will take the full day because it's replacing all of the library shelving as well as installing some new furniture for computers, including a height adjustable workstation. So we'll have an accessible computer workstation in that branch there. So hopefully by Thursday, the Ilderton space will be finished. We did talk probably a couple months ago, I guess, about touring the Ilderton space. Obviously, we had to put that on hold with the latest lockdown, but the timing works out well because now when we are able to schedule that tour for all of you, you'll be able to see the full picture. So the full facility will have gone through a whole, revisioning. You'll see the new Early On space, and then you'll see everything that's been refreshed and redone on the library side as well. So really looking forward to seeing everything finished in that project, wrapping that up likely by the end of the week. So those are our first two branch refurbishments of the year. Then we move on to the big one, the Strathroy Early On Child and Family Center and Library project. So I'm just going to, actually, I'll just talk about it, and then I'll show a few pictures, the most recent photos that we have of the space. So the timeline that we have been working with has been, most recently has been that they intended to be done the end of May. So you'll remember that originally the funding that we had through Early On had to be used by the end of March, but that has been extended into September, I believe. So plenty of time to wrap this project up and be in line with the requirements of the funding. There is a meeting this afternoon with the architect to determine if this timeline will change. They've experienced a number of delays, obviously related for reasons related to COVID. So challenges with certain trades, getting them lined up and scheduled. And then delays with some materials, in particular, the glass and the metal involved in the walls of both program rooms. So there have been some delays that will likely mean that this timeline may extend into the first week or so of June. So I'll just stop sharing this for a second and bring up some photos of what the space looks like right now. Okay, so this photo is of the front early on space. So previously this was where the public computers were, and it was an open program space. It looks a little rough here, but really it's 90% finished. Mostly what needs to happen here is flooring, and obviously cleaning up all of the bits and pieces that are around, but primarily what's left is flooring and that wall that will be glass and have a double door entrance into the early on space. Some of the glass work, they're doing some custom glazing on it that will show different words that are related to the early on service that Nadine has pulled from the some of the foundational documents for early on. So it's a bit of a custom piece that they're working on now. So hopefully this afternoon I'll hear, what the timeline is for that work. And then, definitely by our next meeting, we should be able to show you a picture that looks much more attractive and more like an early on programming space. But in this area, this is where we'll have, the programming area. We'll have some children's collection space, and it'll look much like those photos that you've seen of Ilderton. So looking forward to that. Our next photo, this I just took yesterday. So this is one of their latest projects. They're going to be working on the doors, obviously. So they have to stain them on site. And then these are for the offices and all of the newer spaces in the building. So that'll be done this week, hopefully. This is the family accessible washroom in the early on space. So again, finishing work that needs to happen here, but all of the fixtures are installed and ready to go. Kitchenette, again, similar state, so needs the flooring in and the appliances installed. So we'll have a dishwasher here and then space for full-size fridge and then wall ovens in this area. So it'll be a great space to do some children's programming related to cooking. So this is the programming room at the back of the library, and you'll see more progress here. And really, a week and a half ago, this space looked very much like that front programming space. So things can happen quickly. But you'll see they have the new flooring installed. So this is like a vinyl product. Looks really nice and is really durable. We have that in a number of branches. The glass wall is installed here. Still waiting for some panels that will be sort of like a beige color up at the top here. And then the doors, obviously, to finish that space off. And then you'll see in the room, nice feature wall, nice rich blue. On this wall, we'll have a large screen TV installed and video conferencing technology as well. So there's going to be a sound bar underneath the TV with a camera on it. So, so there can be video conferencing done really easily in this room. It's got a new HVAC unit over on this wall, and it'll be really set up really nicely. And if you just envision around this corner here at the end of the space, so this is still going to be a hallway to the back door, so we can get back and forth between the library and library office. And then there's also storage for table and chairs back there. So it's going to be set up really nicely. They've patched all of this carpet. So this was all ripped up. So a lot of progress in this space that we can see. And then we have the new offices. So there's 3 offices along this wall. This one has the most glass. It'll be the most coveted office, I think, of the 3. All the nice windows. But same here, finishing work needs to be done. So flooring, doors, and then finishing the electrical in that space. And then over at library office, the family washroom is coming along nicely. So again, fixtures installed, plumbing work is done, water's running. So that finishing work, well, in this picture, the toilet obviously wasn't installed, but it has been, it's set up now. So some finishing work left to do there. So hopefully by this afternoon, then I'll have an updated timeline and I can share that with you all by email as well when I get that information. I'll just pop back to the presentation. And so once the construction side is completed, there will be a number of projects that have to be done on the library side. So work that can't happen while the space is under the control of the contractor that's working there now. We do have shelving on order. We anticipate that it may not be delivered until sometime in July. That's what we're hearing now, because there have been delays in that industry as well. So between now and July, a lot of work still to be done. Obviously organizing the collections, lots of cleaning. We have to patch the carpet on the floor because there wasn't carpet underneath the old shelving, and then relocate the public computers and set all of that up for when we're able to offer computer appointments again and access to the space. So that's what we'll be working on over the next couple months. As soon as we get final completion on the space, Nadine has some work lined up to be done in the early on space at the front. So you'll see on this picture in front of you, you'll see the castle that we have in Ilderton. Well, we have one of those for Strathroy as well. So that company is going to be coming back, putting this unit together, putting together some of the children's shelving that we ordered a year and a half ago in preparation for this project. In the next couple of weeks, we'll see a lot of changes in that space. And then as summer progresses, we'll get the rest of the space in order.
Lindsay,
Yes.
if I could, just a quick question, because you went over it quickly and I never got the dates now, but we had always worried about the time, the fact of the time for the funding. So, and that it had to be done by the end of March. So now I'm going to say released from that time date, and it comes into when, September for final completion, or like they can complete it sooner, but as far as the funding goes?
Yes, yeah, the funding date is, I believe it's end of September, but I'll double check that, but it's September, yeah.
Because we had a lot of conversation about that and with the contractor and so on to ensure that we were spending 100% of the funding, and that it wasn't going to go back on the county with respect to that of the library board. So we're safe with that then.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, that was definitely a big relief when Cindy finally heard. The announcement was, yeah, we were really looking forward to that. So yeah, so that's one pressure off of us, but that change, didn't affect the timeline. So, we're still on track to be done well ahead of that. So yeah.
Well, when I saw the photo, that's the first thing I thought about. Are we okay with respect to the provincial funding? So we are. So okay, thank you very much.
Perfect. So that's Strathroy and library office. And once the family washroom is done, we are working on our plans for that space as well. For when some library staff move from library office to Strathroy Library, and making the space ready for social services. So that will be an upcoming project as well to work on reconfiguring that space so that it's workable for social services as well. And then finally, we have 2 more branch projects coming up later in the summer and the fall, likely. So in Lucan, we'll be relocating the public computers to create some more privacy and confidentiality in those bookable offices that right now are right beside the public computers. So we're looking at how we can rework the space. And then in Komoka, we're looking to enhance the children's area there. So back when the Wellness Center was constructed, we didn't replace all of the library shelving. We reused a lot of it. And so the children's area, the children's collection at Komoka is quite small, and the use tells us that they could and should have a larger children's collection. So we're looking to add shelving in the kids area and really enhance that space a bit. So those projects will be coming in the next few months. So we'll be able to come back with more information in the fall about that work. And then obviously we'll be doing COVID related prep work as we work towards our next reopening timeline. We did some preliminary work to get spaces set up for curbside pickup and scheduled computer appointments, but there'll be more work, different directional signage, moving furniture potentially again, setting up our self-checkout stations at our comprehensive branches. So a number of little projects related to those reopenings coming up. So on outreach, we have two projects here, our library and early on websites. So we did purchase a subscription to a product called Communico, and we'll be using this to build our library website. So it's a content management system where library staff will be creating the website themselves. And so we'll likely be combining the library and the early on website into one, because we really are merging those two programs and making so many connections between them. We think it makes sense to have the early on content within the library website, so that it's kind of one place where families and caregivers are going for this information. So we're going to be working on that over the summer. It's a really great product. Like I said, we'll build the website, and then there are other functionalities within this that will help us with computer bookings, with room bookings at different branches, and with scheduling programs and kind of enhancing participation in programs. So again, we'll be able to come back with more information about this in the fall before it launches to the public, so that you can have that look at it before it goes live. And then second is the Adelaide Metcalfe Library kiosk. So I did present to Adelaide Metcalfe Council. No, I can't remember what month it was. I think it was in March. The days have flown by since then. So got their go ahead and help from Morgan as well on identifying the best space for this kiosk in the Adelaide Metcalfe Municipal Office. So I'll be coming back to you with a detailed report at our June meeting for the procurement process. We'll be, basing the installation timeline on the reopening timeline for the municipal office, and what makes sense for them. And then working on service delivery plans, how we're getting collections there, what collections will be available, what things will look like. And then obviously this is a pilot project, so we'll have a launch, evaluate, make changes, adapt, and watch for, right now, like I said, the best site for it is in the municipal office. That another site may come up down the road. There may be other changes that we want to make. So it's going to be an interesting process where we kind of adapt to what the community wants. And that's just a photo of a sample of one of the book kiosks that we looked at back during the budget process as well. And then finally, technology. So like I said, in the Strathroy Library, we will have that video conferencing set up for use by staff, by the county if needed, and then by the public as well. We'll also be looking at the Strathroy Makerspace. So this was a project for 2020 that was deferred because people didn't have access to our makerspaces. So the goal was to create some sort of mobile, kind of movable makerspace for Strathroy. So we'll be coming back to that in the fall to see what we can put together in our new space. And then we'll be circling back to the Glencoe Makerspace and the music studio that was scheduled to launch last March on March break. So unfortunately, the public hasn't had a chance to see it or use any of the items that we we're so excited about in Glencoe. So we'll be coming back to that, seeing if anything needs to be changed, updated, and getting things ready so that it'll be ready to go when we can welcome people back. And then finally, our RFID project. So we're looking to move this ahead in the summer. So I'll be working on the RFP, obviously getting help from the IT department and other library staff, issuing that over the summer, and then coming back to the board in the fall for your review and approval so that we can move ahead with a contract there and start work on that before the end of the year. So that's an update on where we're at. Lots of work, very busy. It's going to be a busy summer and fall as usual, but lots of exciting projects that we're working on. And I'll stop sharing and I'm happy to take any questions.
I'll open up any questions from any. Cindy, did you have a comment or question?
Yeah, I just had to get my unmute off. I just wanted to confirm that date is actually September 30th for the provincial deadline for the funding.
Yeah, no, we can all rest easy now. Yeah, I know that was a big subject last November, December. So thank you. Is there any question then with respect to this presentation, this visioning topic from Lindsay? Okay, seeing none, then we'll move on to item number 5, which is action items or none. So move to item 6, correspondence and information items. And I know that Lindsay had a couple comments on a couple of them, and I know Nadine's going to speak on one of them. So if you've got any questions when I'm going through them, just put your hand up and grab my attention. But first of all is 6A, which is systems and resources and system internet usage statistics to April 30th, 2021. And item 6B is accounts payable to May 14th, 2021, totaling $276,020.84. Next item is newspaper articles concerning Middlesex County Libraries. Next is curbside pickup and computer appointments. Question on that? Next is the virtual programming participation, April 2021. Next item is social media activity, April 2021. Next is early on update, January to April 2021, and this is a report from Nadine. And Nadine, before you get on that, how was your treasure hunt out here on Friday?
Trying to screen out the children in the background.
Yeah.
Treasure hunt?
Yeah. Didn't they have one here Friday? I saw the girl putting up the things on Thursday.
Oh, yeah. So that is part of our Open Spaces Adventures Club.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, because it looked active around here. That's all.
Did you spotted it? You were out on the hunt?
Saw it. I spoke to their girl that was pre-organizing it and spoke to her about that. And yeah, it was pleased to see it happening. So
great.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. So yeah, that is part of our Open Spaces Adventures Club. We hope to launch an in-person club this spring. So yeah, we shifted over to a virtual opportunity. So that's part of that project. And so what we're trying to do with a lot of our virtual programs is do not only opportunities by Zoom or opportunities that families can engage in at home, but a self-guided opportunity where they can get out of their home and maybe out in the neighborhood. And so we tried this scavenger hunt during our winter learning program and it went over really well. So we thought we'd adopt it again as part of this Open Spaces. So just for everybody that's on the call, what we do is take the previous one was our in winter learning. It was our whole team. So our team was featured on this scavenger hunt poster and we hid it in different communities across the county, and then provided clues to families, and then families had to go out and try to find it. And then at the site, they were able to use their phone. And there's a QR code on the poster, and they were able to sign the guest book. And then if they didn't have their phone with them, they could send us an email and they were entered into a prize.
On the back.
So a similar sort of thing with the Open Spaces Adventurers Club. They're just able to go around the community and use the clues to be able to find, and this time it's Nutsy, the squirrel, who happens to be Donna Fleming, one of our early on facilitators, who has a huge passion for outdoor programming. And so she is featured as Nutsy the squirrel on these posters, and the kids have to find Nutsy, and then again, they can enter into a draw when they find her. So yeah, I just wanted to provide a Q1 report, hoping to be able to do a quarterly report to the board. As Lindsay had mentioned earlier, for the bulk of 2021, we've been in a virtual, been offering virtual opportunities. So very briefly through March, we offered, I believe it was 16 programs in person. At the time, that was all infant programming. There was a few changes to our staffing level that had us just offering infant programming at the time. So we did that through March. And then, as has been the case throughout this, is we've been ready to go with our April calendar with a number of different in-person and virtual programs. And then the team had to quickly adapt to go all virtual through, as of now, April and May. So we always offer a regular schedule of virtual programmings, both for infants and caregivers and toddler and preschoolers. In addition to our regular programming, we have been offering special programs. So we did our winter learning program. Oh gosh, that would have been through January, the end of January, February into March. We're now offering this Open Spaces Adventurers Club. So everyone who registered received a little supply kit, and in that supply kit was a little canvas hat. So all of our little club members have a canvas hat, and in that package as well was a number of different supplies to support their participation in the program. And as of today, commencing today, we are starting our 4-week Ready, Set, Learn JK Readiness program. Again, all of our programs, what we've tried to adopt as a model are 3 pieces. One is some sort of supply kit where families can pick up a package, and in the package is some materials to support their participation in the program. For example, for our Ready, Set, Learn program, there's a book in there, and the book is being read tonight as part of our bedtime stories, and a number of different supply materials in the package to support their participation. There's always opportunities to connect virtually through Zoom programs. And then there are some self-directed virtual activities. So we always do some pre-recorded videos that the kids and the parents can view, and some opportunities just to do at home. So after this Ready, Set, Learn program, we'll be doing some planning. We have some planning this afternoon to look at our summer learning program. We're really hopeful that that can involve some in-person programming. But as of current, there has been no direction from the province as to when we can commence in-person program. I do know that we are very anxious, as well as families, to start to do that. So we have a program plan in place with a variety of in-person programs for infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. And once we get the direction from the province, we can hopefully move forward with that once we can do so safely. But as always, all through, even when we start to offer in-person program, we'll continue to provide virtual opportunities. So for families that maybe still don't feel in a position to be able to attend an in-person, or maybe don't have the opportunity to get out, we'll continue to offer virtual programming when we do commence with in-person. Any questions?
Is there any questions so far with this? Must be a good report. Okay, well, seeing none, then we'll move on to our winter learning report from Liz Adema, and Nadine, and Shauna. Any questions with that? Any comments on it? Next is our library activity report, report from Lindsay Brock, Director of Library Service. Do you want to comment on this one, Lindsay?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Right.
So a number of things on the report I've already spoken about. So the renovation project and the website. So I wrote this report before last week's announcement about the new phased reopening plan. So I just noted that, we do continue to offer curbside pickup at 10 branches and scheduled computer access at 5 branches during the stay-at-home order. So that will remain at that service level. When we move into phase 1 of the new plan, and then that information that I sent out last week does indicate that phase 2, there can be enhanced access, and then phase 3, greater access beyond that as well. So like I noted, I think the timelines line up where we can come back at the June meeting and have a greater discussion on what that plan and what that timeline looks like. Have had preliminary discussion with Bill last week, just to get some preliminary thoughts going. We're right now, we have been at this service level really since end of last summer and into the fall. And the feedback that we're getting from the community is that we are doing a good job at meeting people's needs. Curbside pickup is very busy. Scheduled computer appointments at some branches are busier than others, but the option is there and the service is there when people need it. And staff really are going above and beyond to try and enhance the experience that people get, especially at curbside. I think people do miss browsing the collections. That's a big thing. And so, people can call ahead, they can send requests by email. Liz and Amy are setting up a new request service where you'll get like tailored picks on specific topics, whatever you're looking for, you can request those ahead of time. Staff are doing grab bags and surprise bags that kids and families especially are really enjoying. Liz has had to do a lot of collection work recently because people are reading the collections out like they're, so I think certain collections are getting even more work and access than they would in a normal month, really, especially the kids books. I just want to, I really want to thank staff, obviously, and I know that I've passed on your thanks as well at their creativity and all of the work that they're doing to go above and beyond and, enhance the level of service that we're able to deliver right now. And so, we've talked about a bit as a group about, what our next step may be and kind of a gradual reopening. So looking forward to that conversation and having that plan, working through that plan at our next meeting. But I'm happy to take any questions or obviously on that topic. And then just a couple other things in the report. I wanted to point out the thank you card program. Again, a great idea from Liz to hand out the supplies, basically, a template for people to create thank you cards. And people have the opportunity to do their own card and hand it off to someone or, a business, a person, an organization in their community, or hand it back into the library and we will distribute it to a variety of essential workers around the county. We've done this a few times to say thank you. I think we're still very thankful for the work that everyone's doing, especially now during this stay-at-home order. So looking to distribute those to healthcare workers, retail, education, and childcare. So that's one of our current programs running. Another fun one that staff have come up with, cocktails and crafts. So this is a 19 plus program where you can craft the night away making paper succulents while sipping on a cocktail paired with that theme. So you get recipes for the cocktail as well as your craft supplies at curbside pickup, and non-alcoholic versions of the cocktail recipe are provided. So that's coming up. No, sorry, that was May 19th. We already missed it. I'm losing track of the month. So I hope some of you, I did not take part in that, but I hope some of you did. And I think that that's another one of those. Oh, Liz, did you take part in that? Do it? Yeah. Okay. So that was, just another fun idea. Another thing that we're trying out is more adult programs, because we have fantastic programs for kids. So creativity for adults as well. And then obviously we are, I think we're wrapping up the vaccine calls for that 65 and up age group. So we were doing those calls, and London Public staff were also calling their card holders to see if anyone needed assistance with booking a vaccine. Transportation was identified as one of the biggest barriers, and now, you know, the county has this agreement with, has worked on this agreement with Voyago for a transportation option for low income and vulnerable citizens across the county. So now staff have the opportunity to go back to some of those residents and card holders that they know, noted that transportation was a barrier. So they'll be going back to those people to see if they can get them signed up and connected with this new transportation option. So very exciting progress there. And staff appreciated the opportunity to make those calls and connect with people who maybe weren't accessing library services or, you know, had questions. So it was a good chance to touch base with people. So.
Hey, is there any questions then with that report? Okay, then I'm going to move on to item 6J, which is library newsletter. Anybody want to comment on that one that we read? Okay, no questions. Next is assessing climate change, vulnerabilities, and Ontario populations. Anybody want to speak on that one? Questions or comments?
So Mr. Chair, I'll just point out that this is an anomaly. It may seem a little strange to be on our agenda, but I just wanted to bring this to your attention. This was a research project that library staff assisted with, and this was back before the pandemic. I think the work wrapped up really in the spring, just before or in the winter before the pandemic started. So that was good timing. So we've worked with the lead author on this, Fatih. He used to work for the health unit, and he led the well water testing project. So we've had good partnership with him. And when he approached us to assist with this research project, you know, it made sense for us. And library staff really just assisted in making connections with patrons who had an interest in, you know, climate change and ecology and environmentalism, and especially with that rural lens. We have some groups in the county. There's a really strong active eco group in Coldstream. There's another group in Lucan. So that was really our role, was reaching out, promoting this study, and we held these focus groups at the branches that were led by Fatih and his research assistants. And so he does thank us in the study. And I think there is some good information within this document as well that can inform our programming, what people want to learn about, what they want to experience. And so something for us to refer back to as we move forward with different programming plans.
Yes, any questions on that one? Seeing none, then I'll move for a motion that the items 6A through to 6K be received for information.
So moved.
Moved by Mary Gay Wilkins, seconded by Brad. Any further comments? All in favor? That's carried. Is there any inquiries? Inquiries? Mary Gay.
Not an inquiry. I just have comment to make, and I did have to leave there for a bit, so I'm not sure what happened, but my answering service left the house, so I had a phone call I had to take. Anyway, sorry about that. I could have missed some of this stuff, but Lindsay, the hot spots that are in some of the libraries currently, when do you plan on expanding that?
Through the chair. So right now, our budget did support purchasing them just for the comprehensive branches. So then we have within this budget year, we have the funds to kind of renew that contract. So we're actually coming back in June with a report on usage. So from there, we can determine, are there areas that you know, where they're not getting much use versus those that could use more. And then look then to see if there are those opportunities to add in different branches, because would you be like seeing if they would be an option for either like enhanced or basic level branches.
Right, exactly. I think there is a need out in Wardsville. I know it's not opened, and it may not be opened even in a first phase if it's what's the word I'm looking for, a gradual opening for, comprehensive, then to go to the other two branches. But I think there is a need. As a matter of fact, I know there is a need in Wardsville. So I would like to see it expanded at some point to the smaller basic branches as well.
That's great.
And Lindsay, do we know how well that's being received? Because I did get into my agenda on the old one, but when I went to try to get back in, I couldn't get back in. So it could have been there and I missed it. And I'm not having any luck getting in on the new eScribe agenda.
Yeah, I'll see. I can't remember what report those stats are on, but I know that like in Strathroy, we're seeing good usage and a lot of repeat users. So it shows that they're having a good experience, basically, that
Right.
it's meeting a need, versus some branches, might check one or two out in over a couple weeks. So it is spotty. And our next step is to understand, is that because there isn't the need in that location, or is that because the information isn't getting out to people?
Right.
To try to
just evaluate. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. And Jim, if I could continue, I just have a comment I'd like to make.
Go ahead.
Lindsay, you did touch on this a little bit earlier, but I'd just like to thank all of you. That includes Cindy for all the amazing work you do, and Nadine and Liz and Lindsay. I mean, you've all worked so hard and pulled it all together in the last 14 months, and you've done an incredible job. And I've had comments and phone calls from the community that say they are so pleased with how it's rolled out in our library, our comprehensive library. Lindsay, I did send to you some messages that were on Facebook a week ago from a couple of, I think there were 3 or 4 patrons actually, praising the good work that you've done in handling what you're offering, the curbside pickup. And I guess at one point it was appointments for computer usage. I realize that's changed again. So I don't think you hear it enough. And I just like to reiterate and say it again, that I know I appreciate you. I know the community appreciates everything you've done. And I know the county does as well, because you've really worked under some trying circumstances. It's not been easy, I know, but thank you very much to all of you, and pass that on to staff. I know that every library has just gone above and beyond, and you've did creative things, and you've really put it together. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks, Mary Gay. What you just did was take all my speaking notes under new business. So thank you very much. It's nice of you to do that. We'll go to Ruth next.
Sorry, Jim.
It's okay.
Yes, Mr. Chair, and I will second what Mary Gay said. I just wanted to comment about the hotspot. So I think it's a mixture of people who aren't aware of it, because, I have friends that don't have easy access, and they were not aware of it until I mentioned it to them. And then secondly, I don't know how much tutoring your staff does, Lindsay, when they loan out the equipment, but if there's any kind of a firewall or on your phone, some sort of block that doesn't enable them to connect easily, that has also caused some issues. One of my friends who, he's somewhat technologically challenged, that's what he discovered 3/4 of the way through his time period. Like, he threw up his hands in despair, and I finally told him to bring me his phone and I would have a look at it. So I will comment on that too. If you have some sporadic loans from a library, I'm wondering if it's just because people get frustrated and couldn't figure out how to use it on a consistent basis. that's all I wanted to say while Mary Gay mentioned it.
That's
And
a really
thank you
good
so much.
Oh, thanks. That's a really good point because we have, I know that Zoe, who is, she rolled this project out and had to go back and forth with the vendor a number of times to figure out some unique configurations. I know that Josh, our community navigator, has, he had spotty internet when he's working at the motel. So he tried to use one, ran into that problem because of the VPN to connect to his email. So yeah, so what I'll do is I'll go back and make sure that there is some information in the packet, like in the container that holds the unit. There should be contact information because Zoe would absolutely be available for troubleshooting and then also the branch staff. So I'll go back and make sure that what that process looks like right now and how we can improve it. And then, like you say about that communication, because so much of our communication is happening online. And if people aren't online because they don't have internet, then there's that huge gap, right? So we need to go back and look at some other options to see that we're reaching the people who really need it. So I appreciate that feedback.
Thank you. And further to just Mary Gay's comment, so I think it comes right from the top down with the staff and what happens at the libraries, because, and I'll just tell you my own experiences going to the local library here. And for those that don't know, I use the Dorchester one, but when I go over there, it's the friendly people. But when people are in line, sometimes I just ask them to say, how are you making out with your pickups here? And how's this going for you? And all you get is so positive and so happy that at least we've gone to that level of service. So I know there's a lot of pleasure from people that are able to pick up books and able to bring them back. And I think it should be extended to all your branches and make them aware, Lindsay, that it's that friendly face that people are seeing, and it's not like a chore for them. It's just, it's fun for them to do it for our residents. So I think it's important that we pass that along, because I just know from my own experience in doing it and talking to people that I think we're doing the best we can, with, it's really the cards, we can only play the cards we've dealt with, and we're doing a good job of it. So I think so. I just think it should be passed on. So is there any other inquiries? Seeing none from staff, that's good. Now we'll move into new business. Our next meeting is at 10:30 on June the 22nd. And what's anybody think? Do you think by September we can meet it in person? I think Bill's nodding, so it's got to be something good.
I'm thinking October, but yes.
Okay. Yep.
Our goal, I can tell you that the warden has given me instructions that the moment we can do a hybrid meeting where some people, mostly library board members, are in one spot, but everybody else is remote, we're going to. So that goes for council and for library board. So it's definitely on our radar, Jim.
Yep.
We're going to do it the first chance, even if I have to put it outside, the meeting outside, and gather around your trailer. We'll have to figure that out.
Well, come on up the lake. Yeah, yeah, we can make it happen. So if there's no other inquiries, or that's under new business. Next, we'll go to item 9, and 9A is a confirmatory bylaw. And I look for a motion that the first and second reading for confirmatory bylaw be given. Look for a mover and seconder. Moved by Mary Gay, seconded by Ruth. And look for her hand. There we go. Ruth.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? It's carried. Next is our third and final reading. Confirmatory bylaw be given. Mover and seconder. Moved by Brad, seconded by Ruth. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Next, I look for no other business. I look for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mary Gay, seconded by Brad. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for the time and effort put into the meeting, and thank you for the reports.